Hello and welcome to the Eagle's Wing podcast. This is your host, Deuce Brandt. Today we are in Proverbs Chapter 17 in the Amplified Bible. Better is a dry morsel with quietness than a house full of feasting on offered sacrifices with strife. A wise servant shall have rule over a son who causes shame, and shall snare. A wise servant shall have rule over a son who causes shame, and shall share in the inheritance among the brothers. The refining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tries the heart. An evildoer gives heed to wicked lips, but a liar listens to a mischievous tongue. Whoever mocks the poor reproaches his maker, and he who is glad at calamity shall not be held innocent or go unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children is their fathers. Fine or arrogant speech does not benefit an empty-hearted fool, much less do lying lips befit a prince. A bribe is like a bright, precious stone that dazzles the eyes and affects the mind of him who gives it. And as if by magic, he prospers, whichever way he turns. He who covers and forgives an offense seeks love and forgives. He who covers and forgives an offense seeks love, but he who repeats or harps on a matter separates even close friends. A reproof enters deeper into a man of understanding than 100 lashes into the self-confident fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore, a stern and pitiless messenger shall be sent against him. Let the brute ferocity of a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man rather than a self-confident fool in his folly when he is in a rage. Whoever rewards evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is when water first trickles from a crack in the dam. Therefore, stop contention before it becomes worse and quarreling breaks out. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both an abomination, exceedingly disgusting and hateful to the Lord. Of what use is money in the hands of a self-confident fool to buy skillful and godly wisdom, when he has no understanding or heart for it? A friend loves at all times and is born, as is a brother, for adversity. A man void of good sense gives a pledge, and he becomes security for another in the presence of his neighbor. He who loves strife and is quarrelsome loves transgression and involves himself in guilt. He who raises high his gateway and is boastful and arrogant invites destruction. He who has a wayward and crooked mind finds no good, and he who has a willful and contrary tongue will fall into calamity. He who becomes the parent of a self-confident fool does it to his sorrow, and the father of an empty-headed fool has no joy in him. A happy heart is good medicine, and a cheerful mind works healing, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. A wicked man receives a bribe out of the bosom pocket to pervert the way of justice. A man of understanding sets skillful and godly wisdom before his face, but the eyes of a self-confident fool are on the ends of the earth. A self-confident and foolish son is a grief to the father, and bitterness to her who bore him. Also, to punish or fine the righteous is not good, nor does to spite the noble for their uprightness. He who has knowledge spares his words, and a man of understanding has a cool spirit. Even a fool, when he holds his peace, is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is esteemed as a man of understanding. So this proverb goes into its parenting, and several times it talks about our sons and how if you're a parent of a self-confident fool, does it to his sorrow, and the father of an empty-headed fool has no joy in him. So this is something that, yes, but our children are taught, and they will take on what we put into them. So that's something to definitely think about. But it also talks about how a happy heart is good medicine and a cheerful mind works healing, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. This is important. We have to have an attitude and a cheerfulness in ourselves. And it kind of goes back to that old saying, if you have nothing nice to say, you should say nothing at all. Very, very important. But again, talking about parenting and our children, talks about children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children is their fathers. This is something that I often think about is, once my children have children and I have grandchildren, what an extra special blessing that is going to be. And I want to be able to be in a much better place in my wisdom, knowledge, understanding, in my finances, in my, my wealth, and to be able to pour into, my grandchildren and possibly great-grandchildren one day. What a incredible blessing that would be to have health and wealth and relationships. And it's something that I often think about. So I'm just going to leave with this last thought of he who covers and forgives an offense seeks love, but he who repeats or harps on a matter separates even close friends. It's so important. We gotta have this element of forgiveness and reconciliation, and nobody wants to be nagged. Nobody wants to have somebody harp on them about their faults. I think that people know when they have their faults, and so yes, bring correction. Yes, bring reproof. But once it's said, move on, forgive. And then, you have a restoration of relationship. So that's going to end this podcast for the Eagle's Wing podcast. Your host, Deuce Brandt. I hope you have a great day.